Good evening and welcome to Primetime News on TV1 for the Newsfirst team. I am Mazra Hassan. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
Prince Philip passes away at the age of 99. Who is the mastermind of the April 21st attacks? Diverse views expressed in Parliament.
So Newsfirst මෞලවි අවුරුදු දෙකක් තිස්සේ අත්අඩංගුවේ හිටියා. අවුරුදු දෙකක් අත්අඩංගුවේ ඉඳලා බැරි වුණාද මහා මොලකරු කියලා හොයාගන්න. දැන් මේ හදිස්සි එකපාරට කොහොමද මහා මොලකරු කියලා හඳුනගන්නේ?
Venerable Jamburevela Chandra Ratanathero files a complaint against the police after being released on bail. Bandula Gunawadana seeks a probe on those spreading false accusations.
නීතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක කිරීම සඳහා පොලිසිය සහ අපරාධ පරීක්ෂණ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව මැදිහත් වෙලා සාධාරණ ඉෂ්ට කළ දෙන ලෙස ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා.
The United Kingdom's Prince Philip, the husband of Queen Elizabeth II, has died at the age of 99.
Buckingham Palace today tweeted, "It is with deep sorrow that Her Majesty the Queen announces the death of her beloved husband, His Royal Highness the Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh." The tweet added that His Royal Highness passed away peacefully this morning at Windsor Castle and that further announcements will be made in due course. The Duke of Edinburgh, as he was officially known, had spent 4 weeks in hospital earlier this year to receive treatment for an infection and have a heart procedure, but returned to Windsor in early March.
Public Security Minister Sarath Weerasekara recently claimed that an individual named Newsfirst Maulavi has been identified as the mastermind of the April 21st attacks. Questions were raised on the veracity of such claims in Parliament today as well. This was during the parliamentary debate on the Presidential Commission's report on the April 21st attacks.
Newsfirst
Maulavi was arrested when the incident took place. Newsfirst Maulavi was in police custody for 2 years. Why was he not identified as the mastermind of the April 21st attacks during those 2 years? Now all of a sudden he has been identified as the mastermind of the attacks. How can this happen? He was never produced before the Presidential Commission. This report is baseless and has failed to answer the questions of the general public.
I stated that the mastermind of the April attacks is Newsfirst Maulavi. I made this statement based on the multiple investigations that were carried out into the attacks. I made such a statement after taking into account state intelligence reports, the evidence obtained from suspects, reports from foreign intelligence services, reports from the US state authorities, and the Presidential Commission report on the April attacks. If anyone has evidence of another mastermind responsible for the attacks, please hand over such evidence to us. The Presidential Commission report on the April 21st attacks also highlights the role played by Newsfirst Maulavi in carrying out the attacks. We will take steps to punish those responsible and all their assets will be confiscated. Consideration would then be given to distribute those funds among the victims of the attacks.
Initially they said that Saharan Hashim was the mastermind. Now they have named another individual. They are trying to cover up this matter. We must remember a certain matter. In 2006, certain Mujahideen groups in the eastern province were issued arms and weapons. This group included Army Mohideen, Saharan Hashim and his brother Rilwan, whose names have been mentioned in the report on the April 21st attacks. Speaking at the Rajopavanarama temple in Gatame, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa explained how army intelligence units had continued to support groups such as the National Tawhid Jamaat since 2010. Minister Keheli Rambukvela admitted this during a television debate. What is the action that has been taken against that? Several groups have been proscribed at present. The individuals in those groups had been offered payments by the intelligence units, but no investigation has been carried out into that. At the same time, steps had not been taken to recover the weapons that were offered to them in 2006.
Newsfirst Maulavi was only a friend of Zahran and not his leader. They have no evidence to claim that Newsfirst Maulavi was the mastermind of the attacks. Against such a backdrop, they are trying to mislead the people. Zahran, who led the attacks, had maintained ties with the government before 2015. We believe that this group involved in the bombings had a leader. Jaffna Mayor, Attorney-at-Law Viswalingam Manivannan was arrested by the Jaffna police this morning. According to the police spokesperson, the mayor had been arrested under the Prevention of Terrorism Act for abetting the spread of the LTTE through the LTTE's deployment of 5 individuals clad in uniforms similar to the police during the war. Investigations had revealed that the 5 individuals had been recruited as employees by the Jaffna Municipal Council. Police said that steps will be taken to produce the Jaffna mayor before courts this evening.
What has the Jaffna mayor done? There are officers clad in blue uniform attached to the Colombo Municipal Council. He too had worn such a uniform. The law seems to be different in Colombo and Jaffna. What is the truth? He is a lawyer. It was a channel that brought up this matter over the Jaffna mayor. They had questioned whether the municipal council is executing the duties of the police. Therefore, the law was enforced on this matter. We saw how the police conducted themselves in the north during the LTTE war. We wish to responsibly state that a mayor will not be allowed to fulfill the duties of a police officer.
Venerable Jamburewala Chandaratana Thera, who was arrested during a protest in Colombo demanding solutions to the issues faced by the widows and spouses of war heroes, filed a complaint with the National Police Commission today. In his complaint, the Thera had sought an investigation into the conduct of the police during the protest. The protest cannot be considered as an unlawful gathering as it was held after informing the relevant authorities. Media reports show that an individual involved in pelting stones at the demonstration had been arrested due to the intervention of the President and the Prime Minister. However, no one knows what has happened to that individual. We are wondering who released him, upon whose orders was he released, and why was he released. If he was arrested and questioned, then we could have learned several details, including who provoked them to pelt stones and the person who manipulated such activities. We are requesting for an impartial investigation into the officers linked to the attack.
නිලධාරීන් සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපක්ෂපාතී පරීක්ෂණයක් සිදු කරන ලෙස අපි ඉල්ලා සිටියා.
What we witnessed yesterday was a failed commotion involving the police. It was the police who instigated those acts yesterday. We feel that if it was done with the knowledge of the government, then it would have been done based on a directive issued by the government itself. If it was not done with the knowledge of the government, then it could have been instigated by a police officer who opposes the government. We wish to remind you that. Therefore, we wish to tell the leaders of the government to pay attention towards this matter.
The
police carried out various arrests yesterday. On one hand, they arrested Jamburewala Thero during a protest held on behalf of the rights of war heroes. He was released afterwards. They then arrested the reigning Mrs. World over the bus stop at the recent beauty pageant. The Jaffna mayor was arrested as well. The previous day, a journalist who was covering a protest staged by healthcare workers had also been arrested. He had been assaulted by the police as well. Incidents of this nature were reported from all parts of the country. When considering all these arrests, we wish to question whether the individuals involved in the sugar scam had been arrested. The scam had caused losses worth 15.9 billion rupees to the state. The losses caused by the central bank bond scam has not been determined yet. Stocks of coconut oil containing a toxic substance known as aflatoxin had been imported to the country. Did they arrest the individuals involved in providing harmful products to the people? Did they initiate any form of action against these individuals? Instead of taking action, the government is displaying various theatrics by arresting individuals over petty matters.
Leaders of 11 constituent parties of the government participated in a meeting at the Sri Lanka Freedom Party headquarters last evening. Former President Maithripala Sirisena, who leads the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, had attended the meeting. National Freedom Front leader Vimal Weerawansa, Pivituru Helurumaya leader Udega Mampila and Democratic Left Front leader Vasudeva Nanayakkara were among those present during the discussion. The parliamentarian of the Our Power of People Party, Venerable Athuraliya Ratana Thero, the Deputy Secretary of the Communist Party, Veerasumana Veerasinghe, leader of the Sama Samaj Party, Professor Tissa Vitarna, the General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Communist Party, D.E.W. Gunasekara, and Gewedhu Kumaratunga were also present. ALM Ataullah, who heads the National Congress Party, was also present at the discussion. Although the 11 parties had met on numerous occasions previously, this was the first instance in which former President Maithripala Sirisena had been present. What were the matters discussed at the meeting?
අනාගත දේශපාලන ක්‍රියාවලිය තීරණය වෙන්නේ
Our political future depends on our future work plan. Politics is like the weather. The situation can swing to and fro at any given moment. As a party, we hope to implement a stable plan in the future. Yesterday, we held discussions about the provincial council elections. The Sri Lanka Freedom Party had faced various injustices in the past. We discussed on how we can address these matters and move forward.
ගණනාවක් තිබෙනවා. මේවා හදාගෙන අපි ඉදිරියට යන්නේ කොහොමද කියලා තමයි අපි කතා කරන්නේ.
දැන් එතුමාලා ඔබතුමාලා සමග මොකක්ද කිවිසුමකට එහෙම නැත්නම් එකඟතාවයකට එන්න සූදානම් වෙලා ඉන්නවද?
නෑ.
There will be no agreements. We are part of the government. I believe that we must implement a work plan in which we can protect the government and develop the country.
කියලා අපි විශ්වාස කරන්නේ.
පොදු අපේක්ෂකයෙක් ගැන පොඩි කතාවක් යනවා නේද?
නෑ ඒ වගේ තව අවුරුදු 3මාරකින් තියෙන කාරණානේ දැන් මොකටද ඒව ගැන කතා කරන්නේ.
ඒ වුණාට දැන් ආණ්ඩුවේ විරෝධයක් එනවා ආණ්ඩුවේ ඇමතිවරුන්ගෙන්. ඔබතුමාලා ඒ පොදු අපේක්ෂකයට බාර ගන්න කැමතිද?
නෑ නෑ එහෙම කිසි ගැටලුවක් නෑ. තවමත් අපි
There is no issue in that. We will move forward with President Gotabaya and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa.
අනාගතයේ තව අවුරුදු 3මාරක තියෙනවා ගැන දැන් කියන්න බෑ.
Meanwhile, Sri Lanka Pudujana Peramuna parliamentarian Jagat Kumara, who heads the Paduka Development Committee meeting, raised a question of parliamentary privileges over threats levelled against him by a group from his own faction during the committee meeting. The conveners and Pradesh Sabha members of the Sri Lanka Pudujana Peramuna, along with individuals who were under the influence of liquor and underworld members who attended the meeting, had obstructed our activities. Although we responded to them on multiple occasions, they obstructed us several times and pulled our microphone and attempted to attack us. They have been able to remain freely in the party. They are sabotaging a government meeting and are attempting to obstruct me from attending parliamentary sittings. They acted in a disgraceful manner and prevented me from leaving the premises. The law has not been enforced against this. If we initiate stern action against this, we will have to face the repercussions of this. As parliamentarians, I enjoy certain privileges.
පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රීවරයෙක් විදිහට මගේ වරප්‍රසාදය.
දැන් සභානායකතුමා මූ කරන්නේ. හරි. අපි මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ අපි දන්වන්න ඕන කොටස වලට දන්වන්න.
විශේෂයෙන් අපේ ජගත්
Parliamentarian Jagat Kumara raised an important matter here. You must look into the matter on behalf of all 225 parliamentarians. He raised this issue despite being in the government.
Meanwhile, Ajit Mannampiruma was sworn in as a parliamentarian today to fulfill the vacancy that was created after Ranjan Ramanayaka lost his parliamentary seat. Minister Prasanna Ranatunga was the first parliamentarian to thank Mannampiruma upon being sworn in as a lawmaker. We must congratulate MP Ajit Mannampiruma, who was sworn in as a parliamentarian today. It's because of his decision that we were able to fulfill the vacant seat. We witnessed how the opposition attempted to oppose this move yesterday. It is because of your decision that we were able to solve this issue. Though I was sworn in today to fulfill MP Ramanayaka's seat, I must make it clear that I cannot carry out the role played by Ranjan Ramanayaka. As you all know, MP Ramanayaka is a unique individual. I do not possess his talents and abilities. However, I am committed to carry out my duties on behalf of my country, the truth, justice and democracy. We are not given an opportunity to visit MP Ranjan Ramanayaka, who is currently held at the Angun Kola Palasa prison. We can only visit him once a week, that is on Wednesday. This is unfair and illegal. We have to attend parliamentary sessions on Wednesdays. I urge the Speaker to look into this matter and provide a solution immediately. A letter signed by 39 opposition parliamentarians calling on the Speaker to conduct himself impartially was handed over to the Speaker today. The letter points out that the Speaker has acted in a biased manner on numerous occasions in the House. The opposition parliamentarians observed that the Speaker had neglected the lawmakers in their faction when they had opposed certain proposals brought up by the government. They recalled that the Speaker had not acceded to the request made by the Chief Opposition Whip, calling on a vote on the proposal put forth by the government to amend the tax policy on sugar imports. Another matter highlighted in the letter was that Ranjan Ramanayaka had been stripped of his parliamentary seat, although Premalal Jayasekara continues to attend parliament. While insisting that such matters had not occurred in the past, the opposition MPs expressed fear that such conduct will tarnish the prestige of the parliament.
Honorable Shehan Sevasinghe mentioned my name and the name of the political party I represent a few times in his speech dated 8 April 2021. In his speech, he mentioned that I should be questioned by the Criminal Investigation Department regarding a matter that was expressed in my speech. I would like to state that as a Member of Parliament, it's well within my privilege to express my thoughts in this House without fear. I would like to urge the Honourable Speaker to take stern action against the Honourable Member of Parliament for violating my privilege of speech.
They cannot level such accusations against Shanakian. If he has done something wrong, a proposal must be placed in the order book and put forward in Parliament. We can then debate about it in his presence. Members in both factions hurl abusive comments at times. This is appalling.
I'm a member of the Parliamentary Ethics and Privileges Committee. In fact, in the committee also we spoke about this issue. The conduct of members of Parliament in the course of debates when other fellow member is on his feet is quite honestly just appalling.
I request you to intervene and implement the standing orders fully to prevent the 225 parliamentarians from conducting themselves in such a manner.
ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න ඔබතුමා මැදිහත් වෙන ලෙස ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා.
මන්ත්‍රීවරයෙක් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ නැගී සිටියොත් මට
If a parliamentarian takes the floor citing a breach of privileges, then I have to follow that. But they misuse that. I can't silence them.
අවභාවිතය කරනවා. කටවහන්න බෑ එහෙම.
හිටි හැටියම ඇවිල්ලා ප්‍රශ්න.
When they raise questions as per their whims and fancies without prior notification, we have to respond to that as well.
ඉතින් ඒකට ප්‍රතිඋත්තර දෙන්න අනිත් පාර්ශවය නැගිටිනවා.
ඇත්තටම සභානායකතුමා මේ
I wish to tell the leader of the House that the backbench parliamentarians in his faction are claiming that they take the floor while the party has not given them a chance to speak so that they can figure in the news. I am not referring to you. Certain individuals are saying that.
නෑ සමහර අය ඔබතුමා නේ සමහර අය පොඩ්ඩයි සමහර අය කියවද
කතානායකතුමනි අපේ
Honourable Speaker, the Leader of the House allocates a time frame for the backbench parliamentarians to speak. We have never expressed such views to them. We have been allocated a certain time period to speak daily.
කතානායකතුමනි මම ඉතින් කවුද කිව්වේ කියලා කියන එක හරියන්නේ නැහැ අපිටත් යාළුවෝ ඉන්නවා විපක්ෂේ හිටියට.
අපි පළවෙනි මාසෙ
In the first 3 months, we allowed all parliamentarians to speak. The MPs on our side don't receive a time period as much as the ones in your faction. We have more than 100 MPs on our side. We have to divide the time among this number. You pointed the finger at the government over the April 21st attacks. You claimed that we are planning to carry out another attack as well. When you say that the government is planning out another attack and that the people's lives are at risk, isn't that a serious statement? You can file a complaint with the CID accusing those of planning this. We will appreciate that.
CID කියලා පැමිණිලක් දාන්න. කවුද සරසුම් කරන්න කියලා. ඒක ඉතාමත් හොඳයි. නැත්තම් ඉන්න රාසෝභා බෙසිංහ මහත්තයාට වෙච්ච දෙයක්.
දැන් මේ කලබල වෙන විදිහ බැලුවා.
When you express alarm over such statements, it seems that you are justifying my remarks. I said that if Zahran had ties with the government before 2015, then we don't know whether such an attack will occur in 2025. That is, if only such a relationship existed. If you are choosing a statement out of context and then calling on the CID to carry out an investigation, then I don't know whether they are playing to the gallery. This is wrong. It is your government that is stirring up various conceptions. That is the true scenario. As a respectable politician, don't do that. We listen to your speeches as well. Act in a more mature manner. Limit slinging mud at us. Trade Minister Bandulu Gunawardena has said that members of the movement to protect consumer rights that spread misinformation on concessionary food packs must be arrested.
Concessionary food packs worth 1,000 rupees are being offered without a shortage across Satosa outlets island-wide. Recently, a cunning member of the movement to protect consumer rights had levelled serious allegations against the government concerning this national program. The members of the movement to protect consumer rights who make such claims against this program that was done with the intention of benefiting the people must be arrested. There is a police department and a criminal investigations department in the country. Satosa has also filed a complaint against this. The law must be enforced against any individual who obstructs relief from reaching the people, regardless of any social status. When introducing concessionary food packs, I was asked for how many days it would be sufficient. I then said that the food pack can be used for a week or two. It was the response to that question. When they asked me whether it would be sufficient for a family or a person, I said it would be sufficient for a family. The Satosa chairman then asked to rectify it by saying it would be sufficient for a person. But they gave publicity to the word family. If there are groups that carry out acts of vengeance towards the government when it is carrying out initiatives that benefit the people, then the police and the Criminal Investigations Department must intervene and enforce the law while ensuring justice over the matter.
අපරාධ පරීක්ෂණ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව මැදිහත් වෙලා සාධාරණ ඉෂ්ට කරලා දෙන්න ලෙස ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා.
The relief pack proposed by Minister Bandula Gunawardena includes a packet of salt. According to its label, a packet of salt costs 65 rupees. However, the bill says 43 rupees. The government is now using salt to loot the general public. This is not a concession to the people. This relief pack only includes food items, enough for 2 days. A massive scam has taken place through Sathusa. The general public does not benefit from any of these concessions. All items in this pack are substandard goods. We request the MPs and ministers to purchase these relief packs for their families instead. Their wives will decide whether these food items are suitable for consumption or not.
එතකොට ඒ ගෙදර නෝන මේ බඩු ටික බලලා ඇත්ත වටිනාකම කියයි. මේවා සාමාන්‍ය ජනතාවගේ ආහාරයට සුදුසු මට්ටමේ තියෙනවද කියන කාරණාවත් කියයි.
ඩොලරයේ අගය දිනෙන් දිනම අප්‍රමාණ වෙමින් පවතිනවා.
The Sri Lankan rupee is depreciating by the day. Sri Lanka's debt stock has soared to more than $40 billion US. When the rupee weakens, our foreign debt stock increases. So if the rupee drops by 16 rupees, our debt stock increases by 16 times, which means we need an additional 560 billion rupees to service our foreign debt. Does the government have sufficient income to repay the loans? Does the government have any mechanism to generate income? What will happen if the dollar continues to depreciate? Our debt stock will further increase. How can we raise more debt? We will have to obtain loans at an exorbitant interest rates. We will have no other option than increasing our borrowings from China. Eventually, Sri Lanka will fall victim to the Chinese debt trap.
The Socialist Youth Union staged a protest opposite the Sri Lanka Standards Institute today, urging the authorities to disclose information regarding any food items that may include toxic substances.
It has been a week and the Sri Lanka Standards Institute is yet to inform us about the consignments of carcinogenic coconut oil. The ministers and the parliamentarians are ignoring these issues and are creating havoc in parliament instead. The politicians have fooled the people of this country. By placing their trust in politicians, the general public has been misled into consuming harmful coconut oil for a week. We urge the Trade Minister Bandula Gunawardena to step down from his position. It is the general public who falls victim to all the toxic and harmful substances and not the politicians or cabinet of ministers. They only consume organic food that is grown separately. This is such a shame.
We will be back after this short commercial break. Stay tuned.
Hello.
Hello, love. Just to let you know, my parents are coming home tonight.
But we still have to go grocery shopping.
I might get a little late. Do you think you can do it?
Fine, I'll do it.
Please don't forget, okay?
I have to go now. I'm in a meeting.
Meeting.
Cargies Online, delivering groceries on time, always.
An entertainment experience, unmatched, unparalleled, and unrivaled in every way. LG OLED TV, color that goes beyond clarity.
Bellboy's got you covered. Download Bellboy today to get all your household appliance fixing and repairs done. Now available on Android and iOS.
Welcome back to the news. Newsfirst has continuously reported on the environmental destruction that has taken place in the Sengamu area in Puthuville. Our correspondent reported that several trees in the Karandoya Forest Reserve have been felled in the last few days.
An unidentified group had felled kumbuk trees in the area with bulldozers for cultivation purposes. Our correspondent said trees that were more than 100 years old were among those that have been cut down. The acting divisional secretary of Pothuwil, Sandaruwan Anuruddha, said that investigations are being carried out into this matter.
On the 15th of March this year, a sudden fire broke out in Kajimavatta Grand Pass, destroying multiple houses and displacing 40 families in the process. Today, APAD, in collaboration with the Disaster Management Center, the Armed Forces and private sector associates have begun rebuilding these houses in an effort to restore normalcy to the lives of the people by providing them with permanent shelter once more.
Information gathered by police has confirmed around 50 houses had been completely destroyed in the fire. The fire was only successfully doused following a strenuous effort by 5 fire engines and firemen. The fire spared nothing, burning through many of the belongings, leaving families homeless and helpless. They were later located to temporary shelters. The government, in collaboration with the DMC and the military, commenced restoration of the houses while attending to the needs of the affected families. APAD, with the invaluable assistance of private sector associates, also joined in on the relief efforts by handing out early recovery items such as kitchen utensils and family clothing.
And that's a wrap of this edition of Primetime News. We leave you tonight with the remarks expressed by Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca to the media today. For the Newsfirst team, I am Azra San with our sign language interpreter for tonight, Tarka Gabriel, joining us via Zoom. Take care and good night.
The Epilogue.
Premalal
Jayasekara is serving a death sentence. He has been allowed to enter parliament as he can be considered a remand prisoner since he has appealed against his sentence. From the 8th of February to the 30th of September in 2010, I was locked up in a 10 by 10 feet room that had no ventilation at the Navy headquarters. It was then President Mahinda Rajapaksa who signed the charge sheet against me. He was the one who authorized the punishment against me, in addition to appointing the judge bench for my case. I was taken to Valikada prison by midnight. From the 30th of September, they didn't allow me to enter parliament. I recollected these incidents in a disciplined way in parliament and then said that the speaker at that time is seated in the house. He then became angry over that. He stood up and started making false statements. He used a defamatory word for me as the field marshal. I then had to respond to him in a language that he understands. He then challenged me for a duel outside the chamber. He is 80 years of age. If I get him, he will go flying over the Diyawanna Oya. This is the precedent that he has set for his fellow parliamentarians when he said that 4 or 5 individuals stood up to protect him just as bodyguards do. Who are these individuals? One of them was caught for soliciting a bribe at the Kirindawala Pradesha Sabha. He narrowly won the case on technical grounds. The other individual is involved in sand mining along the Ma Oya in Diulapitiya. Another person is a millionaire who earned his money through large-scale sand mining, while the fourth individual was involved in drug peddling in Kochikade. They are ganging up on me now. Is this what should happen in parliament?
The Epilogue.